I seen her a few days after she passed away. I was 8 years old. I seen her out the window at the end of our driveway standing there. And that was really
Really?
weird because she was in a wheelchair and blind my whole life. But you could see her eyes, you could see her standing up there clear as day. So
Today's guest is Mr. Joseph Soel, a retired Army veteran that chose to join up after the September 11th attacks. Mr. Soel served in Operation Iraqi Freedom and in 2008 experienced a mortar attack. During this attack, several buildings at which the FOB he was stationed were destroyed, and Mr. Soel was among the rescue efforts to dig a lot of his colleagues out of the rubble. It was from these experiences and this tour of duty that caused Mr. Soel to write the book The Broken Mirror of Memory, Iraq and Other Tales. It's just got several experiences and tales and poems from his time serving in Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom. And the link to this book is in the description. And you may ask how this kind of content would fit into my sort of paranormal adjacent genre. And this is how. So I decided to air this episode because I've had a ton of UFO abductees on, as well as other paranormal experiences, but mostly the UFO abductees that experience a ton of PTSD. And it seems to be a vast majority of the issues they have from it is PTSD. And, other paranormal experiences have it as well, but none of which are quite to the level of USO abductee, the country singer playing at a base in Iraq. None of which have PTSD to the level of a UFO abductee. And so I really wanted to bring someone with PTSD from a combat situation on and sort of explore how that person feels and just mentally compare it to how other paranormal PTSDs might apply. And it's very similar. You'll have to listen to the episode to see, but there's a lot of commonalities between how someone who has a horrible paranormal experience that may or may not be repressed childhood memories and Mr. Soel's experience in Iraq digging bodies out of the rubble. This is, of course, the Caffeinated Cryptid podcast, and I am your host, Bobby Dizzle. All ways to watch, listen, and follow this podcast are listed in the description, as well as bobbydizzle.com. Tell me what was the pivotal moment of the 9/11 the 9/11 attack that set you on the path to joining the military. As if you have to explain it.
Yeah. The second I heard about it, I knew I was going.
It's funny you say that. I know about 3 people, and I'll never forget them saying it. And I can't repeat what they said, but like in the student center, because I was in college when it happened, and they said they were joining like that day. Yeah. I was too dumb to even think that was an option back then. Yeah. I was like, I'm not running. I'm not running for anything.
You're probably better off.
Well, the funny thing is I ended up getting a job because of it, because I've worked for the Army since 07, 06.
Oh, okay.
It's just as in IT, so I definitely benefit. I don't want to say benefit from. That's a bad word, but yeah, I definitely ended up got a job just strictly because of the surge. Yeah. And your book is called The Broken Mirror of Memory, Iraq and Other Tales. What inspired you to share just these details? What made you want to do it? What got you into the mood to write it all down?
Well, I was really messed up, so really the book was an effort to get it all out of me and just write it down so I could make sense of it. And then I found I had enough to publish, so I was like, well, let's go ahead and publish.
I think you'll probably end up with a bigger deal than this book by the time it's over, from just what I read. A big deal, like a TV show or something to that effect.
It's just I don't know about that.
You never know. I mean, some of these things that happen, like and the poems in between the stories. I was like, what is like? That's like it's almost like you can make a podcast just telling that story. Yeah. And then in between, like at the end of it, have like the ruffles and flourishes kind of music. So you mentioned in your book that your journey to Iraq began with a deep sense of patriotism and desire for revenge. How did your perspective evolve over time? Because I know it did.
And my perspective evolved when I met the Iraqi people. I had to work with them every day and really realized that they weren't the enemy. A great majority of them were not the enemy, and that they needed to, be respected as human beings. And then getting to know them, I started shifting my perspective quite a bit.
Spoiler alert! You go a long way with the shift of perspective.
Yeah.
I think that happened a lot too, because you never hear anybody coming back and just bad mouthing the local populace too much. The only thing that any of the guys that I talk to about as deep as their humor goes is them talking about how they sell them like bootleg electronics. and bootleg
Yeah.
bootleg movies. It's always my friend, my friend. It has Sony guts, Sony guts.
Yes.
That was like a running joke on the range.
Top quality. Top quality.
Toshiba guts, Toshiba guts. See,
Yeah.
when I graduated college, I ended up, like I said, in IT. I was a video major at Alabama, TV production. Ended up doing teleconferences and kind of running this little audio booth out on the EOD range here in Huntsville.
Yeah.
And so I went from college students to EOD guys, and I didn't
Yeah.
know what was happening, and it shaped my personality. Like there was like a line of delineation between who I was before and after that. Started using the F word as a comma. It's a
Yeah.
it was
Well,
all,
it is. It is a comma. So, yeah.
especially with those guys. Goodness, I mentioned this to one of my friends who I still talk to from out there. He's so EOD that he lost use of one eye for a while because of a shot going off too near him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a bomb guy for TSA.
Yeah. Well, I was a munitions specialist, so we worked
Mm-hmm.
closely with EOD, but we were not
Yeah.
EOD. So, yeah.
Yeah, one I was getting at there. He was. I saw you were 962nd Ordnance,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like, is this What's it? What was this? Was it artillery or what? He goes, probably a like an ASP kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At I used to have to go help him at the. Is that the ammo supply point
Yep.
ASP? Yeah, I
Yep.
had to go. I used to have to ride out. I couldn't touch anything that was unwrapped, but I could help him load the boxes. And so I'm like I've got like this underlying knowledge of how all that stuff works. Like I feel
Yeah.
like people talk about being in the military and I'll answer it. And I'm like, I wasn't in the military, but I know
Yeah.
like all this like general knowledge.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. When they burn all that stuff at the end of the month, it looks just like a tornado going up.
Yeah.
All the leftover. Did you
Yeah.
have any fire pit, burn pit things going on too? Any issues from
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh yeah. The smoke came over the living area. Smoke came over the
Mm-hmm.
ASP. It didn't matter where you were going to get the smoke. So, seemed like the wind followed you wherever you went. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to see what kind of cancer I get. I'm really stoked
yeah.
about it. Honestly,
You know, it's
thrilled.
basically like the little raffle wheel of health.
Yep. You gotta wonder what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Well, when I worked out on the range, we had a burn barrel, just from that the stuff came in, just a regular 55-gallon drum. And they said, because I didn't know, what are you talking about? What is this uh, fire pit thing? And they're like, the burn barrel we have behind the shop where we just hang out every morning and smoke? Because it was like
Yeah.
that times 1,000, just a
Yeah.
giant pit. Like you throw
Yeah.
anything in it just to get rid of it.
Anything at all.
Can you describe the experience of being in Iraq and how it changed your view of both the world and yourself? That's almost the same question.
Oh well, it really did change my perspective. I mean, I was pretty gung ho when I went in, and then I was no longer gung ho when I got back. Pretty messed up and just very tired, and I was ready to be done. And it really threw my world for a 180 for probably about 10 years. I wasn't really quite right.
What year did you get back?
2009.
Oh wow, so you were in and out quick.
Yeah, I was
Did you
there 13. Yeah, 13 months. Yeah.
disability retire? Are you still in?
I did disability retire. Yeah.
The attack on the fob you were talking about from your one paper.
Yeah.
The attack that was like what he said at 9:30 at night,
Yeah.
and it came through. And what? Let me. No one else has seen this. What basically, Mister, is it Soul?
Yeah. Soul. Yeah.
Okay, Soul. Oh, like a soul. Okay, I was getting it right then. Well, basically, the traumatic experience. You were involved in a mortar attack at night, and rescued some people, found them.
Yeah.
What was they were in an Italian restaurant? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was reading, I said, what does that say? Italian. It said
Yep.
it was like falafel. The
Six
word was
posi.
yeah. It was like a falafel place, and it was
Yep. Yep.
blown to bits.
Yep. Yep. It was pretty well destroyed. A bunch of our guys were buried, and we had to dig them out. So
And you got some accolades for that.
yeah. Yeah. I got something.
Reading what you were telling me earlier, the "Stuck in These Boots" poem is like, don't give me accolades for that, bro. It's not
Yeah.
something. It's like I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry I survived. I know. I don't know how you feel, but I understand where you're coming from. Like, dude, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not something I'm proud of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a complicated relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm proud of what I was able to do that night. On May 17th, 08, I really am. But overall, I you know, it took me a while to feel okay with it.
I can imagine the survivor's remorse.
Yeah,
It's like whenever you're in not comparable at all, but going through like a layoff or something, and you make it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and the person you set beside didn't for whatever reason. It's happened to me a
yeah,
couple of times with the contracting world. I can definitely see like a grain of how that would feel.
yeah.
But
It's
on
people are there, then they're gone. It's just
I'm trying to think of what I was doing in May of '08. God, I'm a piece of crap. And every time I talk to one of you guys, I feel worse. Like I am just
why.
just like I did nothing. I was living in Huntsville, probably eating sushi or something.
That's a good thing to be doing.
Yeah, I was May. I wasn't even married yet.
That's a good thing to be doing. Is sitting in Huntsville eating sushi. I've been to
Mhm.
Huntsville.
I was still living with my parents back then, and I was 2 years out of college.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I
Huntsville's
was
pretty neat.
20 turn. I had just turned 21 on May 14th when that happened. So
Ooh, so you said you've
yeah,
been to Huntsville before?
I have.
Yeah.
We did some train up down there. When I reclassed, I actually volunteered for this mobilization that led to the
Hmm.
book. And I had to reclass my MOS, so I went down to Huntsville for 3 months for training. So
In '08 or
that would have
'07?
been in 2007.
How we probably met
Yeah, never know.
back then. Most
Well,
people,
the munitions world is a small world. It
yeah,
really is.
and they have a big munitions ordinance. They used to have a big ordinance thing down here then,
Yeah,
and
they moved a lot of the ordnance training over to Fort Lee. I think they shut down Aberdeen almost completely.
yeah, it is a ghost town right now, from what I hear. The themes in your book about the brotherhood among soldiers. How did this impact relate? How do these relationships impact your experience during and after your service? That's kind of the same question as before.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the guys that I was there with the ordnance company, we were a really tight knit group, and we continue to be now. We have a reunion page, and
Hmm.
I'm actually going to see my buddy who was buried in the rubble on the 17th of May. I'm going to go see him on Tuesday. I'm flying out to Colorado for the Bluegrass Festival. So the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. So I'm going to see him, and
Oh,
that's going to
really?
be, yeah, and that's going to be really good. So it's kind of odd we're talking about it on the podcast a few days before I see him, but yeah, I haven't seen him in 16 years. I'm going to see him, next week. So
Well, the good news is it'll air afterwards, so it won't be. It'll be kind of weird.
yeah,
Insensitive question. So some of the guys survived the attack.
yeah. So the deadly attack we had was on March 12th, 2008.
Hmm.
The one on May 17th, our guys were not killed. They were pulled out. Um,
Okay.
so um, I don't know. I don't know if guys from other units were killed. That night
Hmm.
in particular. Um, there may have been some contractors killed. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I know our guys were pulled out. So
All
I don't
right. I
really
just
remember it all that well, to be honest with you.
well, that's expected. I just saw buried in the rubble, and automatically think the worst.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
Well,
you could. There's pockets and stuff. People live through 9/11
yep, yep. They managed to get out. They
out of
managed
the
to get out of there.
gyro stand.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It was just freaking destroyed, man.
Yeah. What was it? What was it called? It was called you. I know. I just asked this,
Man, it was called Six Posse,
and it had another name behind it.
uh,
I know. I'm just.
Italian restaurant Six Posse.
It sounds like the place we go all the time.
Yeah. Well, he might have a franchise. You never know.
One guy. It'll be 30 minutes, but your gyro is delicious.
It was a hookah. It was a hookah lounge
That's what it was. Hookah Lounge. Hookah Lounge.
and an Italian restaurant. Yeah.
That's what I kept remembering. So there was something else that was attached to it. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh,
had the PX a few spaces down that was hit pretty bad too. So
that's what I was looking. I was there was another thing because I read it kind of quick and then we joined here. Six
yeah,
Posse Hookah Bar. Yeah, that sounds like a cool
yeah.
place.
I was
I bet it
just, I was
smelled
just, yeah, right. I was just running around looking for people. That's
with the smoke hookah. Everybody
Yep.
tries to talk all deep. When
Ooh.
you start trying to talk after doing a hookah. We
Yeah.
had a hookah at when I worked on the range. They had a hookah at one guy's house. We'd go over there and make fun of our bosses. Start doing their voices with the hookah
Yep.
voice. Anyway,
Boys.
that's enough. That's enough out of me. All right. You write about the institutional racism and Islamophobia you witnessed in the military. How did these experiences shape your war? How did these experiences shape your view on the war and peace?
Oh, I mean, in basic training, they would, encourage people saying things like "die Haji MFer," things
Oh
like
yeah.
that, especially on the bayonet range, things like that. And, it's hard to fight a war against people you don't hate.
Mm-hmm.
So instilling that otherness, that difference in people you're fighting is really beneficial to, um, it's really beneficial to institutionalized systems of warfare. So teaching that hate is really pivotal to get soldiers to go over there and fight. So whether
Yeah.
intentional or not, it's done.
And it's not really a group of people you're really thought about before either.
No.
It's kind of in passing. I remember thinking about it. I'm like, what's a Haji? And I found
Yeah.
out quick enough because they would
Yeah.
have the little rescue Randys dressed up,
Yep.
and they would call them Hajis.
Yep.
Sim Sim Sarabim.
Sim Sim Salabim. Exactly.
You're going to want to not do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
from Family Guy.
From Family Guy. Yeah.
Sim
Yeah. I
Sim
wouldn't do
Sarabim.
that.
Y'all wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
For those listening at home, I had the questions on a notes across my table here, and I keep losing my place. And
Yep.
since Mister Soul is his kind of shtick, for lack of a better term, is different than my normal stuff. I'm kind of winging it here with the questions, so I don't
Yeah.
come off as unprofessional and uncaring because it's such a sensitive subject. But
Yeah. I wouldn't
a
worry
very
about it.
interesting one nonetheless. And since you're from OIF and in munitions, I don't think you're too sensitive. I think
No.
I think you can handle a little bit. Surprised you're
Yeah.
not drinking a rip it right now as we speak.
Well, I was gonna smoke, but I was told don't do that. So
Who told you that?
that
Oh,
my
no.
yeah.
Hey, well, I was sitting on here one night, and I can't do it. But one guy, he leans off camera, and I hear this dude's hitting the biggest bong rip. I'm like, what? So what is that noise? He leans
What is
back
that
in. Oh,
noise?
okay.
Oh, okay.
He proceeds to tell me about aliens in his apartment. So
Mm,
it checked out.
makes sense. It's all coming together now.
Yeah, it's all me. This is all. I'm starting to see a commonality here. All right, here's the question that most interests me, and it kind of brings, uh, your experience and this podcast of mine together is the your transition from an ordained minister and Buddhist is quite profound. Can you share more about the spiritual journey there? Because that's
Oh
what
man.
man, he took a turn.
Yeah. I became really into peace, started studying Buddhism, started
Mhm.
studying, comparative religions, and just found that, God doesn't want us to kill each other. God wants us to love each other. And that's when I became, for all intents and purposes, a pacifist, really. I mean, I'm not interested in fighting nobody. I'm not interested in shooting nobody, killing nobody, nothing like that. I'm done with it all.
I don't blame you there.
Yeah.
It, I don't know where you stand on it, but and you don't have to go down the rabbit hole with me if you don't want to.
Yeah.
What did you think of there's a narrative that Trump is a warmonger when in
Mm.
reality he kind of did more to stop the fighting. And my biggest, in my mind, sticks out was him crossing the 38th parallel
Yeah.
hand in hand. What do you think of that move? You think it's kind of a con, or do you think it's true? Because it kind of felt like it was for show, but it actually had good intentions. Like this is what he meant.
Mm. Well, I mean, I can't obviously speak to the man's heart.
No.
I think the results speak for themselves. I mean, the first summit between a North Korean leader and a U.S. president was extremely historic, and he didn't get us involved in too many other wars.
Mm-mm.
I hate to go down this rabbit hole, but the guy we have now sure seems to like funding wars all over the world, which is not something I'm in support of. So,
Like a Saturday
um,
night drunk buying people beers, isn't he?
yeah, yeah, pretty
You get a
much, yeah.
war. You get a war.
You get a war, exactly.
All
Don't
right.
worry, just put it on the credit card.
It's okay. My dad will pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wondered, like you said, you were a pacifist and really got into the peace thing. I wondered how that particular thing set with you because I just know like the deep state and the lizard people were probably shitting their pants whenever they
Mm,
started seeing this guy. I'm like, this dude is not at all. He's doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do as a world leader.
yeah, yeah,
You can't end the Korean conflict. That's a
yeah.
money
It's very,
maker.
it's very counterintuitive the things he was doing, and that's why they don't like him too much.
Yeah, and he would sit down with these guys that everybody demonized and just like trying to work
Yeah,
things out.
yeah,
They call him a Putin puppet when he absolutely was not.
yeah, exactly.
Trying to like, why would you want to make peace with your greatest enemy?
Yeah, you know, he even said, that he'll sit down with anybody. Why not? What's it hurt?
The art of the deal.
Yep, the art of the deal. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I try not to appear as a Trumper. I think when I say two sentences to anybody, they assume I am. And in honesty, I'm not. I mean, I didn't vote for him in 2016. I did in 2020. I
Yeah,
voted for a libertarian in 2016,
yeah.
not the alternative. But I'm not that
Good,
crazy.
good old Gary Johnson.
Yeah, I like that guy. I'm in
Yeah,
Alabama, so I can vote for anybody.
yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
I just you can go you can. It's really fun to have like an ability to vote for like who is this person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
It's not
Who
going
the
to
hell is
matter.
that guy? Let's vote
Let's
for
vote for
him.
him.
It's not gonna matter.
I really do like the libertarian thing though, just because it's a flat tax and everything, but
Yeah,
it's never going to amount to a hill of beans.
yep.
Somebody,
Unfortunately, not.
I wish I could find that picture real quick, but it was like the difference in your parties, and it was a bag of rippled Lays that was in a blue bag, and a bag of wavy Lays that was in a red bag,
Yep, yep, yeah.
like the exact same potato chip.
Exact same potato chip. They both
So
taste
what's
like.
yeah, they both taste like a huge shit sandwich.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
in didn't you make a Full Metal Jacket reference in your book?
I don't know. I don't. Maybe.
I thought I saw one in scanning through. It said, but one of the guys, the military combat journalist, said it's a huge shit sandwich, and we're all going to take a bite. Talking about
Something like
talking about
that. Yeah.
talking about the Tet offensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, does this mean Anne Margaret's not coming? I love that movie. What's next? I'm telling you, I was the most fascinated by you switching over to Buddhism.
Yeah.
I had a little help writing these questions from our friends in artificial intelligence.
No, that's great. I love our
Just
friends
to,
in artificial intelligence.
yeah, they're my friend. No, they help you do things like you're like here, look at this and tell me what the question should be.
Yeah.
But the Buddhist thing, like, have you gone to like India and worked with actual like
No,
in the ashrams
mm,
kind of thing?
not to India, but I've been to the Zen centers in Rochester, New York, and here in Seattle. So they have monks there that are just as good.
Yeah, same. Now,
Yeah.
how do the Buddhists feel about politics? Do they vote at all?
Um, it's not really brought up.
Yeah,
You would want to, go to a place of no harm. So I think voting's out.
yeah.
At least in my opinion.
I, I don't know. I don't definitely not discuss it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think they would be like putting signs outside and having in the break room,
Nah,
have,
probably not.
having CNN on in the break room in the ashram.
Yeah. Yep.
In the ashram.
In the ashram.
That's the right word, isn't it? Ashram.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ashram.
Yeah.
See, I'm not stupid. I went to Alabama. I know things. I've seen Ace Ventura Part Two. I know
Seen part two.
I know all about the ashrams. The
Yeah.
ashram. I mean, I've been looking at this book, all day,
Yeah.
and just some of the different things going through. So before let's shift gears a little bit. One of the main topics that you sent me was some of your paranormal experiences involving your mother's ghost.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that before we hit the rest of the questions.
Yeah.
And we can actually just talk about anything. You don't have to talk about the book,
Yeah.
just whatever you feel is on your mind.
Yeah. I seen her a few days after she passed away. I was 8 years old. I seen her out the window at the end of our driveway standing there. And that was really
Really?
weird because she was in a wheelchair and blind my whole life. But you could see her eyes, you could see her standing up there clear as day. So um, that's how I know something's going on that we can't explain.
How far away was it?
Uh, 200 feet, 300 feet.
Man, so I must have been like, wow, rubbing
Yeah.
your eyes a little bit.
Yep. A little bit. Yeah.
The I've had so many people see their mothers,
Mm.
and one lady had a bunch of miscarriages, and she had like her kids followed her around. To me, when it comes to the afterlife and not necessarily heaven or hell, I'm not really sure what's going on there. I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think it's more of a to hear stories of that is more of like eating dessert after a big meal rather than like trying to find something new out. It's just like a
Yeah.
icing on the cake.
Yep.
Was that the only other time you saw her? Was just that?
Yeah, that was that. And then a few weird synchronicities with the radio. When I saw my
Really?
dad for the first time in 10 years, and their wedding song came on, and
Mm-hmm.
then a different song that she really liked came on right after that, and they were completely opposite, and it was very strange. And, we had just
Yeah.
talking about going to see mom and things like that. So um, it was very strange and definitely stood out to me as a paranormal experience.
Yeah. Synchronicities are a big thing. I had
Yeah.
I had two or three of those things going on after my grandfather died. I'd wake
Yeah.
up to like this song that I thought represented him.
Yeah.
There was a song that always like in the back of my mind. I don't know if I ever told anyone that I thought that kind of reminded me of him, but like after he died, my alarm would go off back when you put radio as your alarm,
Hmm.
and it would be like a version of that song I never heard, like a live version, just on regular
Yeah.
radio. I was
Yeah.
like, why in the world would they play that? So when you synchronicities, especially with songs like that, are pretty common.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah. And
another.
that
I got
was,
another friend whose dad passed away, and their song was "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
yeah. Yeah.
And they said they heard that like 100 times the first month he died. Just kept coming
Yeah.
on different radio
Yeah.
stations.
Kept coming on. Yeah.
What was their wedding song?
Brown Eyed Girl.
Man, and has a distinctive that has a distinctive beginning too.
Yeah.
It starts
Yeah.
off with that guitar. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. It's always a song like that too. Just like that "Don't Start Believing" because you hear that dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
Yeah, the synchronicities are what gets a lot of people
Yeah.
start getting that start getting that feeling that somebody's in a room with you.
Yeah.
Like we've got a back room. What's just a walk-in bathroom with a walk-in closet at the back of it. And at night when I go in there, I turn the lights on and just shut my eyes and walk. I said, don't appear to me right now.
Yeah. Don't
I'll,
don't don't mess with me. I just gotta use the bathroom here.
yeah, I'll do this at night. Just walking in.
Yep.
I don't want to see. Do not put your face in a mirror. And I do this podcast 2 or 3 times a week and talk all this stuff. I said, I know I'm getting some kind of hitchhiker, but don't do it here.
Yep. Yep. But don't do it here.
And my building at work's haunted.
Oh
And
yeah.
you just hear people, the guards hear people typing all night.
Mm.
And
That's strange.
especially in our room that's locked,
Yeah.
like key card access only. They'll hear somebody in there just typing at 9 o'clock at night.
That's weird.
I was the first one to hear it. I was
Yeah.
sitting when we first moved in. I was sitting there. I started talking to someone I thought was at their desk, and I got up to say something else, and they weren't there, and the door was shut, and I was the only one in that room. But I hear somebody just. I'm always
Freaky.
saying, yeah. I'm saying you can keep the haunting here. I don't
Yeah.
care what happens at work, but don't bring it home. I said it'd be
Don't
kind of
follow
cool.
me home.
I said it'd be kind of cool if I was at work and just it was ghost shit all the time. How fun would that be?
That would be
You're
fun.
you're at work like Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
I keep threatening to bring a
So
Ouija board in there and opening it up
yeah.
to
Try
make
to
this
figure out
place a
what's going on.
let's make this place a portal to hell. Just on our 15-minute break. All right. You discussed the psychological toll of war, including nightmares and PTSD. How have you managed to cope with these challenges? And also, nope, that was it. How do you plan to cope with these challenges? How have you
A lot
managed
of
to cope with these
drinking.
challenges?
For the first 10 years, there was a lot of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got into, Buddhist meditation, things like that. And things sort of mellowed out for me a little bit.
Does it help out? Just the meditation?
Yeah. Yeah. It helps calm you down and just chill you out. So that was the,
Yeah,
that was the goal.
that PTSD, that's I've had it just from bad jobs. And I
Yeah.
can't imagine what it's like for actual bad situations. I can't
Yeah. It's
imagine
definitely,
what real.
it's definitely something. Um, Definitely can get to you, but you just gotta, just got to keep going. You know, you just put your boots on, go to work. I mean, what are you gonna do?
That's why you really the 22 they talk about every day.
Yeah,
Like you just like, man, it's got to be bad if just living a regular life is too much some days.
yeah, yeah. The 22 a day is a real shame. Um, you know,
And it seems like nobody really does anything to remedy it other than put a
really.
Facebook post like you can call me at any time. Like that's not going to
Yeah,
help.
yeah.
It's like this
Yeah,
guy's
you know,
going through it.
people mean well, but
Yeah, I mean, there's really not. You can't go to a guy's house, kick his
no.
door in. Like, what are you doing there, Frank? Put it
Yep,
down.
yep, yeah. It's yeah, it's a tough thing. I prefer we not create situations where we have that, but you know, that's just me.
And like in World War II, they used to like put you in jail for that stuff for having it
No,
and
for having what?
PTSD.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
put you in mental asylums. It reminded me of that movie, The Enigma Machine, with
Mm.
Doctor Strange, where he got put in jail for being gay.
Mm-hmm.
And then he unalived himself.
Yeah.
That's what that was a weird that was a weird turn of events studying for a cybersecurity certification. And they start mentioning the Enigma machine, and there's like the Imitation Game movie, kind of like taking a little field trip from your certification. If you want to see more of this, check out this movie with was it Benedict Cumberbatch, whatever his name is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you watch it, and at the end of it, and it's like Doctor So and So killed himself. I mean, unalived himself because
Yeah.
found out he was. I'm like, wow, that's a turn of events.
Yeah. That's a real shamey. Real
Start looking
shame he did
around.
that. Yeah.
Start looking around.
Yeah.
That was such a good movie, though.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it out there in TV land, Imitation Game, it's like a behind the scenes World War II thing, and it's amazing. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to do military stuff until you
Yeah.
actually have to start running. All right, so you dedicate. I used to tell the guys when they would call me when I was 18, they would join us, dude. I cannot run that much.
Yeah.
He goes, we have programs where you don't. I said, oh, you're not fooling me.
Not fooling me. No. You know, everybody wants to do military stuff till it's time to run a 7 mile run. I don't want to
Yeah,
do it
at
anymore.
4 in the morning, full battle rattle.
I don't even want to do it.
No,
I
I
mean, I'm
think
getting fat, man.
I think if I was in the military, I'd be one of those gear nuts
Yeah.
because that's the kind of stuff that gets me.
Yeah.
Just looking like an old prospector, rattling around with all kinds of goggles and things hanging off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I'd have done on the ASFLAB or ASFAB. How I'd have done on that test because if I can't study, I'm a bad test taker. But if I can,
Yeah.
I can pass anything if I can study. But just
Yeah.
out of the box, that's what worries me.
It,
I'd end up infantry because I'm lazy.
yeah, it's a surprisingly technical test. You know, it's
Hmm.
a lot of diagrams and you know things of that nature. And I don't think I did too particularly well on it, to be honest. Just because I wasn't good at electrical diagrams, I'm not good at math. So, but
Yeah, that's
I
what
did
we got
okay
me.
enough. You know.
You didn't have to go on the front lines.
Well, you know, the front lines were everywhere at that point. So,
You were on just a big line.
yep, it's fine.
What? Well, what happened with the attack you were in? What happened with the C Rams? They didn't go off.
We didn't have no friggin' C Rams.
Well, this was 08.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind. I'll
Yeah, we didn't have any C Rams. It
just
would have made
raw
for
dog,
a yeah, just kind of raw dogging it.
just raw dog in the air.
Yep, it pretty much well, you know, it wouldn't have made for as interesting of a story if we had C
No,
Rams, you know.
well, those things are the most interesting. Incoming, incoming, incoming.
Incoming.
Brop,
Brrr,
brop.
brrr. Yep.
They
Yeah, I saw those on the news back when I got home and I'm like, where the hell were those things when I was over there?
they didn't come along till 10, 11, 12.
Something like that, yeah. Just a giant Gatling gun.
I used to be employed very close to where those were produced.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah,
Yep.
I've a better than civilian, a better than normal knowledge of just how they work.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the video of it looking up at the airliner?
Mm-hmm.
It says why if not target, why target shaped?
Target than target shaped.
Yeah, and it said, and people are going no, no, and that
No.
sucker's looking at it.
Yeah.
And anybody out there Hang on, what do I got here? I have a energy drink bottle. All right. So CRAM, it's got its brains up here, and it's looking around. It does this to look, and it starts scanning the sky. It's got a little photo receiver on the front of it, almost like a IR switch, but much more complicated. All kinds of stuff, and it's just calculating billions of things. And this thing's looking at the airliner doing this. It's like, no, go down.
Go down.
And
No.
I don't know how it keeps from it. So there hasn't been, as far as I know, any errors in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And if
probably
they're,
good.
I think Israelis are really enjoying the CRAMs lately.
Yep. Yep.
That's basically what the Iron Dome is.
Pretty
So
much.
you dedicated your book to fallen service members, including a specific comrade from your Red River 44 mission. Can you tell us more about this mission and its significance to you?
Well, Red River 44 was a CH-47 that crashed September 17th, 2008, near Cobb, and my unit was part of their dignified transfer ceremony, sending them back to Dover Air Force Base. And I never forgot those people. Um, it was a really, it was a really poignant moment, watching those boxes go by.
Yeah,
So, I never forgot them.
that was the "Stuck in My Boots" poem.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of a survivor's guilt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've never really left that tarmac. I'm still kind of there. So once you see a dignified transfer, you kind of don't unsee it. It's not like seeing it
Yeah.
on the news, which they didn't used to do on the news. So it was a very private, very quiet thing.
Hmm.
But
Now they'll show it in passing.
yep, yep. Now they just
And yeah, I don't understand. Not necessarily that. It's not the same as what just came to my mind. But like when they tell about what's going to happen, like a movement, like they plan on
hmm
moving troops in at daylight into the peninsula. Like shut
hmm
the hell up.
Yeah, yep. Just broadcast your plans. Yeah,
Like I guess need to know is out the window
yep,
when
yep,
it comes to a good news story. I don't
yep,
understand why the news does that. I don't know if they used to do it back in like Vietnam times, or
yep.
is that a 24-hour news cycle just to have something to talk about? But I hate when they
Yeah,
do
it's
that.
probably the 24-hour news cycle. They got to have something to talk about, man. They
Like
got to fill their airtime.
you think the ethics of journalism would prevent you from doing something like that?
No, we can't afford ethics in our society, brother. We can't afford it.
And
We
there's just
can't afford it.
like as there are no honor among thieves, as Dave Chappelle
Yep,
once said.
yep.
As Rick James once said, "Fuck your couch." Is there no honor among thieves? So, what lesson do you hope readers take away from your book, The Broken Mirror of Memory?
Ah, what lesson? I never really thought about what lesson, to be honest with
See,
you.
that's why you need artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Can come up with these things, hard hitting.
Maybe they can figure it out because I don't know what the lesson is. I really don't. I just had to get it all out of me, all the stuff from the
Yeah.
tour. I had to just write it down, get it out. And, it'll mean different things to different people. Some people will read it and go, oh, that was a piece of shit. Or, some people read it and go, oh, that was great. Or, I took this or that. Everyone's going to take something different from it. But it's just, it's just an accounting of my time in Iraq, my readjustment to coming home. You know, it, I guess what I would want them to take away from it is that there's a veteran experience out there from these recent wars that only 1% of the population experienced that
Hmm.
really needs to be understood by the general public if we want to either support the troops and have more wars in the future, or we want to support the troops in a real way and not have so many wars in the future. It'd be good to understand what those wars do to people.
Yeah, it seems like this recent bout, the OIF, and I can't think of what the Afghanistan was called. What was the
Yeah,
Afghanistan movie?
OEF, yeah.
What
OEF,
was the E for?
enduring.
Enduring Freedom. Okay, yeah, Iraqi Freedom and OEF. All right.
Yeah,
See, I was a child of the '90s, so I know what Desert Storm and Desert Shield were, but I can't remember what
yeah,
OEF is.
yeah.
It seems like it's not as fun, quote unquote, lack of a better term, to talk about the veterans of the last 20 years. It's just
Nope,
like well, that wasn't a fun war, so we're not going to discuss the million people who were involved with it and
nope,
the 20,000 that died.
nope, nope. We're just not going to talk about it.
Nope.
And that's just the way it's going to be. It seems like we just kind of put it in a drawer and forgot about it.
and
And that's
pulled out.
that's yeah, that probably explains the book sales, but it I think people need to understand it because that's what we did.
I think your book would be perfect for like a podcast series, and
Podcast
not
series.
that's not just because I'm a podcaster
Sure.
and like AV things, but like how your book is like it's a story and it's a
Yeah.
poem and it's a story and it's a poem.
Yeah.
I think that it could be read kind of like an audio book and then
Hmm.
elaborated upon afterwards, kind of a 10-minute conversation like this one, and then like the
That'd be
poem at the
interesting.
end. Yeah, I mean, it's every look. Hang on, as I break the fourth wall here and talk as I do things, so I don't have to edit. And I'm talking, but check these
It's
out.
okay to
Like,
break the fourth wall. How are you
yeah,
guys doing out there so far?
yeah,
You doing all
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I wish if it'd be fun if this was live, but I got another one going right now, and I'm kind of watching the chat, and there's 15 people watching, but
Oh, there we go.
I try to double up. This lady has a book out as well, and she wanted to get some exposure,
Sure.
which is why you come on a show like this. I mean, not saying I'm Ricky Lake or anything, but it's not the Today Show. But she's like, "Can I get it out there?" I said, "Yeah, we'll put it out there." And then you got coming
Yeah.
on, but I got these books. You know, uh,
Losing
this is
away
a
from
book
the
from an author
opposing
I had.
influence.
It's basically the same kind of book you got. It's stories of stuff that happened to her,
Yeah.
and I got a book about these are all Tennessee authors. A book about American folklore and
Oh,
Tennessee
nice.
hauntings. Well, that's the same book. That's Tennessee hauntings. This lady here lives 15 miles from here.
Realm of Shadows.
Yeah, it's Cindy's. But that's what I'm getting at is it's a book about the same size as yours, about 120 pages,
Yeah.
180. They're all the same
Yeah.
size, but
Yeah.
but like they all come from their books. It's like a reverse what we're talking about. They all come from these stories they've taken and made them
Yeah.
into books instead. But yours would be like a book made into a podcast series.
Yeah. And personally, I'd recommend the illustrated edition because
Yeah.
it's it's much it's much better. It's more gooder because it has it has all the illustrations and a lot of pictures in the back
Oh yeah.
from Iraq, things of that nature. So I definitely recommend picking up the illustrated version.
You,
So.
if you were really into the military metaverse, you would put a colored section for the Marines.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I could put pictures of crayons in there, see if they'll lick them, things like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Taste. I love the Marine
scratch
guys,
and
man.
sniff sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't
They
be a bad idea.
so the Army's birthday was last week,
Yes, it
and
was.
and and they had a cake and everything. But oldest and youngest cut the sword, the saber,
Hmm.
and they played the grunt style. The Marines talking about "Happy Birthday, Army," and the
Yeah,
Marines are just chugging beers, and Army guys are trying to be all professional. That's what got me thinking about that. I'm talking about then last year they did when we had the Army birthday and the Marine Corps birthday. Well, we had like a festival in the Marine Corps birthday. Somebody got a big Crayola box candle made, or cake made.
that's nice.
It was like a one by two, looked like a
Outstanding.
Crayola. Yeah, we have fun.
Yeah,
It, that's what I'm thinking about
outstanding.
that. But yeah, your book would be perfect for some kind of even if it was just the audio version
Mm,
with you with commentaries in between.
yeah,
I think it had to be a little more than that, but I think it lends itself to it. Somebody would listen to it.
yeah.
And it's not
That
and
would
look,
be a good idea. I'll have to look into that.
it's not hard to do either. I mean, this stuff's fairly cheap.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're done with the hard hitting interviews. Now let's talk about what what do you think 9/11 was about? Do you think inside job, let it happen, Tora, Building 7?
Uh, I think I think they probably knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I think they probably let it happen.
Tora.
Mhm. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
I think if I was being realistic and not being like a kid at Christmas about it, they probably knew there was something on the horizon, just didn't know where.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, if I'm doing all the wishes I wanted as they did it themselves and blame these guys,
yeah,
but the building seven thing with all that money they lost.
yeah. That was interestingly convenient for them.
Mm-hmm. You remember back then? Of course, you were younger than. How old were you on 9/11?
I was
I was just
14.
I just turned 18.
Yeah,
I remember I had just graduated high school like a month before, or
yeah.
well, 3 months before, and I remember this. You remember Gary Condit,
Mm-hmm.
the senator, and he just got off scot free, like nothing ever
Yep,
happened.
yep,
Somebody said that he was like the lobster in the on the Titanic for that sucker.
yep, yep.
He was like, "Thank you, God."
Thank you, God.
Yeah, the I was going to ask you that as also kind of tied into my genre of podcast about what you thought about 9/11 and what you've known going forward.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they probably knew something was coming.
And
You know.
it was that was a weird day. I couldn't imagine, knowing I was joining afterwards though. I didn't. I went to Kmart and worked a shift that night, so I don't
Yeah,
think I was. I don't think I was as passionate.
yeah,
Boy, I had a one friend. We was that week. What was that on Tuesday?
yeah,
I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday. He was screaming in the student center, I'm going to kill him.
yeah,
I'm joining up." And he did. I ain't seen him since.
yeah.
I think he's retired now.
Probably.
I need to look him up. I can't remember. He went by some kind of weird nickname, and I can't remember his name. We all called him Norm. And
Norm.
if anybody in my friend group's watching this, what was his name? I know he didn't talk plain. He had a lisp, but he was really loud and played the guitar and was kind of an alcoholic.
Yeah,
So he probably fit right in.
yeah. Sure he did.
Probably a Marine. Oh
Probably,
gosh, where'd
probably
you go?
was. He's probably eating crayons as we speak.
I think Norm joined the army. Honestly, I think I looked
Yep.
him up a little bit after the fact.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll wrap it up here pretty soon. But what do you think about extraterrestrials in the army? What do you think they know? Area 51.
I think they know everything. I think they're in contact with these beings. I think that they're
Yes.
working with these beings. Um, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they've reverse engineered a bunch of craft and they have biologicals, in Area 51. Wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
surprise me at all. Not in the slightest. Do I know that? No, I don't know it,
Nope.
but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
It's. I'll tell you what will get you is when people start talking about the term military grade and the secrets. I'm like, I don't know if you know anything about the military. It's not exactly the best compliment you can give to something about the secrets
Really?
and
The
the
lowest bidder, huh?
processes. Yeah,
Yeah. The lowest bidder. Yep, that's military grade for you.
that really changed. Like this
Fucking grab the
stapler I have
door
in here.
handle, the fucking, yeah, excuse me. You grab the door handle and the thing's gonna pull off on you. So that's
And it's
military grade
safety.
for you. Yeah.
It's safety. Everything's safety first.
Safety this, safety that.
No process whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, I kind of hope that whatever these drones are, these Tic Tacs,
Yep.
I hope they're ours by some capacity, at least
Well,
allies.
I hate to do this to you, but they're not following the laws of physics. I
Nope,
don't
not at
think they're
all.
ours. Those things have got to be interdimensional or
Yeah,
extraterrestrial. I
I mean,
don't
like
see,
by some
I just don't
derivative
see it.
ours. For some derivative ours, I meant like allies at least.
Yeah,
Like, like maybe we know about them, we just don't like the deep, deep.
maybe.
They're definitely not like man-made.
No.
No, I mean with that whole, just
Yeah.
people would
I just
be
don't
like
see it.
people would be mush taking some of those turns.
Oh yeah.
What did
You'd have to
David
be in.
Fr-
Yeah.
what did David Fravor say about how it went from like 50,000 to the ocean in like a quarter of a second?
Yeah. You'd be smushed on the ceiling, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. Those things have got to be extraterrestrial.
Yeah, what gets me is like, Bob Lazar said the ones he was messing with was from an archaeological dig,
Yep.
which tells me they're here forever. And
Yep. Yep.
I can't imagine being someone like when you like at your age when you were over in Iraq. Imagine you were like in an airplane and you were on the gimbal, on the periscope, and you just see things like, what do you want me to do about this?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get home to my best girl Sal, and I just saw an
Yep.
alien.
Just keep an eye on it. Yeah, and we were right next to the Ziggurat of Ur, which which was the home base for the home base for the Anunnaki, obviously. So,
Oh, I
you know,
saw that.
yeah,
Yeah, that picture.
yeah, it was wild, man, being next to that place.
Oh,
Come on
crap!
up,
I'm gonna pull it up.
come
Is
on
that a
up.
dog?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, man. Hello.
Is that the dog? Is that the dog from Big Lebowski?
Yeah. Ah, mer, mer, mer.
First of all, it's a Pomeranian. And it has papers.
It's a Pomeranian. He has papers. It's a
You
Caring
don't
Terrier. He has papers.
you don't board a show dog. Hang on, we're gonna show this. We're going into that part where I start looking at where you at? Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Jesus Christ.
Would you say that was?
That's the Ziggurat of Ur. That's a Sumerian step pyramid and
Yeah.
a dumpster.
In the dumpster.
Well, I'm just
Oh
saying.
yeah, there it is. I thought you were talking about the
Yeah,
place in the
yeah.
dumpster. Yeah. There's me
No,
next to the
and
dumpster.
yep, yep, there it is.
There's
Yep,
some
that's the
Jersey
Ziggurat
Bears.
of Ur. Yep,
There's probably some pallets of water somewhere
yep,
in the foreground.
yep. I'm sure there are. And yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that thing's thousands and thousands and thousands of years old.
I
You
mean,
know,
when, when
that's where Abraham came from in the Bible. So
yeah, like when you do things like that, and there you are, just in your best digital camouflage and everything Uncle Sam can provide you. What's that feeling like you're next to something like that and you're like the invader from the foreign land? That's like biblical to the
it's
nth
like
degree.
yeah, it's like biblical. It's like being with Alexander the Great, seeing the pyramids of Egypt. It's really, it's really something. It's it's really incredible. You know, I never got used to being next to it. I'm
Yeah.
a big history buff, I have a degree in history and touring that thing was unbelievable.
Did you get to go inside?
Not inside, but we got to poke around the ruins, stuff like that.
That's just yeah, just that feeling is like you're basically part of prophecy by being there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really um uh, you know, if it wasn't for the war, it would have been a great experience.
Be a fun little vacation.
Yeah, it was really something.
One day, and they say in Full Metal Jacket, I wanted to see exotic Vietnam, the jewel of Southeast Asia.
Yes,
I
exactly.
wanted to meet interesting and clever and interesting people from a different culture and kill them.
Children. Yep, pretty much.
Have you ever seen the movie The Objective?
I haven't. No.
You should. You'd like that.
Good,
It's
huh?
it's about a band of not a band, but like a group of soldiers that went to Afghanistan
Yeah.
for like a Saving Private Ryan,
Oh, nice.
a fake reason. And it
Yeah.
turns out they were after aliens. They had like a scientist with them.
Oh, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's a really good. It's a hidden. It's like a
Hidden gem, huh?
yeah, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. How good it is.
Yeah.
It's like that, but in Afghanistan. There's a quote in that movie. When it's coming on, giving its exhibition, it says, they say the only way to tell what year it is in Afghanistan is by the invading forces' uniforms. That's kind of what that reminds me of. You're over there, and the best Lockheed Martin can sell you
Yep, exactly.
just next to the something that's in the god dang Old Testament.
God dang Old Testament.
There it is. I mean, that's just and ISIS going in there and just ruin all those old ruins too. That
Yeah,
breaks
they
my
destroyed
heart.
quite a bit of them in the Baghdad area. Yeah,
That's just that's
and in
heartbreaking because
Syria.
that's Syria even worse. I mean, as long as they don't get on Ethiopia and start messing with the Ark of the Covenant, I guess we'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, should be fine. Although the Taliban blew up a lot of you know, um, like a 6,000-year-old Buddhas too. So
Really?
they took the big Buddha statues that they built in the mountains, they
Mm-hmm.
blew them up. Yeah, they were thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. And just the amount of culture that's been destroyed by religious fundamentalism is really scary.
Yeah, and just kind of makes you wonder, like we're trying to destroy history in our own states here,
Yep.
while we ridicule the exact same thing going on
Yep.
opposite
Oh
end of the
yeah.
world. Here in Huntsville, they marched past 3 buildings named after Nazis to tear down a Confederate statue. Is that not irony? Of that
That's something. It's
y'all,
something. I'll tell you
like,
that.
hey, y'all missed one.
Y'all missed a couple of them.
There's a complex named after a Nazi.
Hello. If you don't think Werner von Braun used Holocaust labor, think again. Just walk into NASA sometime and yell Heil Hitler. They all stand straight up.
So a pedophile, a Satanist, and atheist walk into a bar. What do?
Oh God. I
Create
don't
NASA.
know.
No, a pedophile. Nah, shit. A pedophile, a Nazi, and a Satanist walk into a bar. What do? Create NASA.
What?
Create NASA. That's what it is. I get it wrong every
Yeah.
time, but it's a Nazi, a pedophile, and a Satanist.
Yep.
You can tell that to your friends at the ashram.
Yeah. There you go.
Do the Buddhists have a great flood story?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
And I know it's kind of a different style of religion than what we're used to. It doesn't have like the crazy ending and beginning thing. It's more of like a way to live.
Yep. It's more of a philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah. I know he studied it and came up with it, just sitting there knelt down.
Yep.
It just came to me when you were talking about that, how they got destroyed. That's what happens. The caffeine's kicking in. I'm starting to get juices flowing.
All
But
right.
Joe, it's been about an hour, and I'll let you go. And it's been great.
Bob, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It really has. I got to find my exit music. I didn't really know how it'd go with the conflicting shtick, but I think it went really well. I think we applied a lot of that's basically I'm going forward. I don't know how much you know about my show. I started it 5 years ago as an anything show. I'd have on a stand-up comedian. I had a couple mildly famous people on, and
Nice.
then all of a sudden it got to where I can only get paranormal people on. So I niched real down. Got my little caffeinated cryptid thing going on here, but now I'm trying to get back up. I've had paleontologists, I've had anthropologists, I still have Bigfoot witnesses, haunted house witnesses.
Sure.
I'm basically, the scene from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the guy at the murder board with the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically doing that with the paranormal. Anything that can be associated. Like I've got you got the war, you got PTSD, we got some conspiracy theory going. I'm like, this is a podcast this is a manly podcast. This is like Dollar General Rogan here. People should
Dollar General Joe Rogan. I like that. Dollar General Joe Rogan.
Yeah, dollar menu Rogan. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Well, all right, everybody. Catch Mr. Joseph Soel's book here. It is, what is it called? It's called The Broken Mirror of Memory.
Yep.
I wrote The Broken Memory of Memory. Broken Mirror of Memory. It will be in the description when this video is aired, so that's not going to be a problem. I recommend reading it, and if he ever puts out an audio book, it's going to be a hit podcast. But until next time, and there will be a next time because this was really fun. Once you get out there and your sales hit platinum and you come back on, you got your little glasses on and a little beret.
Do it. Let's do it.
Until next time, I'm going to hit my theme music and peace out, Joe. Thanks for coming on.
Peace. Thanks for having me.
I never didn't believe in Bigfoot. I never believed in it. I didn't believe in it. I never gave it any thought.
They kept wood knocking back and forth to each other, and it was in a pattern.
Barn owls don't typically throw rocks.
I come across these tracks.
Sasquatch is still not on my mind.